Well, here we have our multi-power clutch pack, and what happens is this sits inside there, and these plates can turn freely, and then they make sure this outer engages with this gear here that in turn turns another gear. Now there's an oil gallery in here, and they have some sealing rings that run around there. I'll polish that surface up, but we'll just have a look. When you put oil in your multi-power pack and you lock him up, well, that locks this clutch pack up. So we'll pop it apart. We'll just look, all we're doing, we don't need to compress it or anything to do this. We're just popping it apart to have a look at mainly the piston O-rings and see if the clutch plates are worn out or anything like that. So look, it's just a matter of running this around. Out she comes. Now those springs there, you can feel that little bit of spring tension. That's to hold the plates loose when there's no oil pressure there. So that's just these little blokes around here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those. So very little tension there. We may hold a bit of tension down on it to try and you know, to help with assembly, I suppose, is what I'm looking to say. Yeah. Then these are cerometallic plates. So look, they look all good. They've got nice thick marks, nice thick lines going through. Another thing we look for is that they're not buckled at all. But down this way they're not dished, and they look good for there. That one looks okay. And what happens here is you have the spring sitting there, and then these other ones, they'll just sit in the middle, and then the spring hits on that fella there again. So they're all looking great. Now, I'll get this out. It's got a steel ring down the bottom there now. Usually have a steel ring on the outside and often have an O-ring on the inside. Let's try and hold the ring in if I can. So we have a steel piston ring on the outside there. That overlaps to stop leakage. That looks alright. I can't see anything wrong there at all. Okay, and this has a steel hook ring inside here as well. Look, it looks okay. So look, the whole pack looks good. We'll give it a wash and put it back together. I might just pop this sealing ring out, the internal hook ring. Oh, I can't get my fingers in onto that at the moment. There we go. Usually we can just get them and hook them out, but this is quite tight. And what I like to do is hook these little hooks together. You can see how they hook together like that. Now when you put them down into the bore here where they run, make sure they're pretty parallel with where they need to run. And we need to make sure that the hook's not jammed together there. Now, you can see we have a gap. Where are you? There. We have a gap there, we have a gap on the bottom, but we have a gap in the middle where the two hooks meet. And that lets us know that it's still pushing out against the outside. It hasn't lost tension through here. So look, we'll just wash this up. I can't see anything we need to put back in here, as in new parts. We'll give it a bath and put him back together. Well, I have a small confession to make. On this multi-power pack, I videoed pulling it apart, then I actually put it together again, because look, there's not much wear there. There's a little bit, but look, not much. And the plates look pretty good. But look, I was thinking, I had to order the other parts, and I was thinking through the week, it's been a week now, I was thinking, look, for the sake of a couple of bucks, wouldn't you be cranky if you missed something, or you just had a little bit extra leak that you didn't need in there? So I decided to strip it again, and I've gone and I've bought new parts to reseal everything, the clutch pack and new plates and that. Cost a couple of $100 extra to do the job, but look, that's okay. I've got a new sealing ring for the inside of the pack, a Sparex S41427, and it's an interesting exercise. When you have a look at it, you can actually feel the difference in the if you sit them both on a ring. Actually, I'll just lock this one up just so we can see the hook on that's quite weak. It's not holding it properly. So, but you can see, look, there is just a little bit of difference in there. So I thought, bugger it, I'm not one to take shortcuts normally, so I'll just get the new sealing rings and we'll put new clutch plates and do the whole thing. So no shortcuts in this job. So what we'll do, we'll slide that ring over into the groove, and then one under the other. I can get my fingers in there. Some of these jobs normally you have the housing and the vise, but just with the filming, I can't quite do that. Where are we? Hold this one in nice and tight. Bring this one right around. There we go, that's locked in nicely. I always like to put a bit of grease on them for when they're going in. You know me and grease, I bloody like a bit of grease. And on the main plate here, once again, this time I've got a Sparex S41430 ring. So we'll pop this off here. You can see the new ring's got a bit more tension in it, but the old ring's got a step in it like that, so it's a bit harder for the oil to come past the groove, where the new one hasn't. So let's just slide it in here and we'll just see if we're happy with all that. Where's my little screwdriver? So we'll try and make that level. Get the same depth down all the way around, somewhere around where it would work. And look, there's a 5 or 6 hour gap there, which all in all won't matter. If it was that important, they wouldn't have this ring. Now let's put the old one in, just for comparison, so we're comfortable in our own minds with what we're doing here. And we'll bring that up. So the old one's got a slightly bigger gap, but it's got that step in it, so when that step's there, the oil can't come out. So now, for comparison, if we hold that in there, I'm going to use that as a stand, but it's just a shit ass idea, Lance. This one might work. What we're looking at is when this goes there, see that little groove there, they're rubbing on each other, so there's less chance of any leak here than the new Sparex one. So I'm going to use the old one. I reckon in our instance the old one is going to seal better than the new one. Yes, I don't know whether with the genuine one, see, Sparex and Massey Ferguson are the same company now, so whether Massey Ferguson has the same ring, you would think with both being the same supplier, the new Massey Ferguson one would be like this, but at present this old ring is actually going to seal better than the new one, so the decision's been made to run with this one. It's just a better, it's going to be a better seal. And if I tidy that up a little bit and I hold that in like that, you can see that the chance of the oil coming up and down and through is slimmer than if you hold this one like that and you have a little gap through there. Yeah, there's a small gap, so in this instance I'm using the old one. In my job I believe it's a better choice. Right, so let's put this back in. Right, and that's right down as far as it can go. Okay. Now, we had 3 steel and 3 sprayed metal plates, and you can just feel that with your finger, but look, bugger it, we're doing it properly. So here's our plates. Now look, Sparex brand once more. As you know, Queensland Tractor Spares, we're a Sparex agent, so Sparex Bear Co, quality tractor parts. So we'll just give that a little wipe. And we'll drop a plate in. Now what we should be doing is checking the width. Look, I'm happy with that. Yeah, that's exactly the same. Okay, so we'll pop this plate on. Then we put at this stage we can drop this centre housing in. It doesn't actually touch anything there, it sits up on the shaft. But we'll put a new metallic plate on, or not metallic, a friction disc. And they call that a starburst pattern. Yep, that's got a little bit more meat. Oh, look at that. Well, that was a good idea, went bad, Lance, eh? I reckon plenty of them. Now, for our next steel, or our next two steels, we don't line the tags up with that first plate. Now that first plate, the first plate has the spring sitting on its tags to force the to force it all back down. So actually, I think that might go down a little bit further yet. That piston, just looking at it now. I'll get some of my junk out of the way here. And I feel this might go a little bit further. I don't think I've got it all the way down. There's like two lips there for it to go down. There we go. Lucky I had a look at that. Or had a squeeze. Okay, so with this plate here, the first plate, on all the tags on your first plate, that's where your springs go. So on your second plate, you have, on the first one you have one finger here, one finger there, like that. So I'm just noticing something there. Oh no, that's good. So look, you just pick a spot in the middle. So you have one here, one there, and you make sure you don't line this up so that these plates can come back and forth, no worries. So I'll pop a bit of oil on there. And another disc. Another steely. Now it lines up with the last one that you put on. Oh, come on, sit down there. Another friction disc. So we have 3 steel, 1, 2, 3, then 3 bronze. So we have 1, 2, 3, we can count them okay. Now this fella here, he can drop in there and line up. There we go. So now we find our bottom tags way down here, down there, down there, and down there. Then this top plate. The top plate has a little crack out on one lug there, but look, that just won't worry it. It's not a problem. But we just make sure that we don't line that up with a spring. We put it about halfway. That's nice and free. And then we get our circlip that holds it all together. We just work our way around here. And we just make sure with a screwdriver that that's all the way out into the groove. Look, that looks good. That turns, so that's no worries. Now, that's all we're going to do for the clutch pack. We've showed pulling it apart, and we filmed putting it together twice, but you'll only see the second one. I've just finished a video on the control valve, so our next video we'll slide all these three pieces together, and we'll do some air testings just so we know that when we're together it's going to be okay. We haven't got any major leaks.